And welcome back, and you can hear my panelists are still going on and on about our ongoing conversation. Caught you gentlemen off guard a little bit, didn't I? On the question of the elected women governors and the task ahead for them, is it unfairly Herculean, and how can they assert themselves in this role? Let's pick up our conversation with you, Zach, in terms of one would have hoped for a situation where there was critical mass, so there would be some significant lobbying. But as we've heard from the other panelists, I mean, these are all women who have, they have earned their place in national politics, in the politics of the areas that they represent. They are tough in that measure. What do they get from working together, and what do they, should they be looking perhaps more to support from national government, especially to go big on any projects in terms of asserting themselves and the ability of women to lead?
You asked a very deep question, Anne, and I intend to answer it. You're asking, is it Herculean task? And I say yes, because we know from Greek mythologies, Herculean tasks were not supposed to be easy, and they were not supposed to be achievable until Hercule hacked them. So, until Hercule hacked them and got them right, including slaying the hydra-headed monster. So our women, especially in leadership, are very targeted. And this one starts with women, because I remember my mother had 3 sons, and I'm the youngest. When she was bringing us up, even when we were in pain, she forbid us from crying, because men are not supposed to cry. And when my cousin came home, a lady, a small girl then, she would be encouraged to cry if she wants something. So this means, from the way we are brought up, it is extremely, did you say patriarchal? Good word. And we are also, the Farangas, we are doing. Religion teaches that man has a special place in society, and that a woman should submit. I'm not discussing that, but I would say, rising from that, then women are also seen to be subordinate. Whether it should be that way or not, I don't know. But our women sometimes receive even votes by sympathy. And a woman elected in a county as a governor will join 47 more other people, and we have 3 women joining 44 more. So out of 47, even among them, a woman feels unfamiliar, because she is not sure how she is thought by these 44 men. She is not sure whether what she is looking for can be given based on merit.
But would that be the case? Because, as I said, these are not just any women. These are significantly accomplished politicians and technocrats in their own right, and so have arguably, this is familiar territory to them, to be sitting in all boys clubs, be it in cabinet or in the National Assembly or elsewhere. And my question really to you was, because of their number, is it important to look more to assistance from national government than any other in pushing through their agenda, or are counties sufficient as they are not to require any extra help from anywhere?
No, the national government is not going to help them, because the office they have is sufficient and enough for them. And I can say, for example, after this year, I predict that the fourth chair of CAG will be a woman, because we have 3. They will pick one, and it is on merit that she will be elected by the other governors. And I predict, maybe we can come later here after she has been elected, one of them, out of the 3, they have all it takes, because the resources and the office of the governor has not changed on anything. So all they need to do is to use their acumen and their prowess to deliver on the resources that they have, and foster, now that they are a woman and our mother, foster a more ego-free leadership kind of, so that they can reach on elected members of parliament. Because remember, most of the governor face headache from members of parliament.
And from MCAs.
Yes, MCAs are always fueled by members of parliament. Yes, because they are also directed under MPs. So the greatest thing that we should be asking is that the people who voted our women, and we congratulate them because we know they came from certain political party, those people who believed in our women to be their governors, congratulations for voting them. Protect them now, because they are going to be targeted by cartels and their surrogates for their own political gains or for their own selfish interest. And because they are women, they may be thought to be easy pushovers, and that should not be the case. So you're asking, because women will be wielding the same power, men will be wielding in the same position, they don't need any assistance from national government, unless...
But they from the public.
And I'm calling them. I am actually inviting the public to protect the governors, who are ladies in their specific counties, so that they are not pushed over by interests.
You're encouraging them, not
Okay, fair enough. I'm encouraging.
Go ahead,
you know, my take is that these women leaders are leaders who can actuate development in ontology. And by virtue of that, using the platforms that have been provided for by law, they need no other excess crutches to help them move. But as to the question of assistance, I look at it through this kind of prism. One, because of some tasks that are squarely on the laps of the national government. Let me pick a component, for example, some of the national roads. When you cooperate very well and closely with the national government, then they get to prioritize, if you lobby, to channel finances on such roads, and then you will be seen as an able leader. A great leader is a collaborator, good at networking, reaches out, etc., and so knows also how to use their resources, you know, with great skill for the benefit of the people. So to that extent, each county needs that kind of help,
assistance.
All right,
so not the women specifically, right?
Each county, so that when you collaborate, the county government gets to see how to prioritize and plan with you to execute those national government responsibilities within your county.
Eric?
Yes, it would be also very important to understand that most foreign funding in terms of national projects are directed to counties or wherever through national government. If you have to look at a resource like water, for instance, the management of water in Nairobi could be done by the county government. But where does this water come from? So in terms of expanding the resource to make sure that there is more sufficient water coming in, you need to collaborate with national government to get funding to be able to expand the water reservoir in Ndakaine, or even coming upstream from Murang'a or from wherever. If you have to look at, for instance, the Mwache Dam project in Kwale, this is a dam project that is purely designed to boost the water level in Mombasa. So if at all the governor does not work with national government, then the question is, how well can you be able to implement some of these projects, especially pertaining to national resources? You have to look at resources like minerals. You have to look at stuff like also oil. If oil is discovered, it stops being a county government property, and it becomes a national government property. But how well can you be able to harness such resources within your county to work together with national government so that development can actually be attracted there, either through the development of national infrastructure or through other systems and policies that can be brought about in your favor.
Right, Dennis, move us further, and we've heard at least Zach talk about the possibility of a woman heading COG after the tenure of Nanok. And so with these three women, let's talk a little bit about the specific skills and competencies they bring on the question of devolution. Of course, starting with the former CS Waiguru, who literally ran that docket, to the experience of Joyce Laboses legislatively, and Charity Ngilu, who has, I mean, really possibly sat in most of the most significant elected offices, MP, she's been also a cabinet secretary, so she understands what elected leaders ought to do and the national picture. Correct. What inequalities do they bring to COG in many ways that some of their other elected male colleagues do not have in terms of experience, in running significant dockets?
Certainly this is a very exciting conversation for this country. The reason is because naturally the woman is the one who's been carrying suddenly the pain of the family in this country, and therefore they are naturally empathetic and sympathetic of families. And if you look at it, the greatest pain that sits within counties is that of the family, at the family level, is that we have a lot of families that basically sliding down into abject poverty. If you look at the issue of health, the issue of education, everything thereabout touches the family unit. By virtue of them being mothers, and by virtue of having them carry a certain level of pain, then they espouse a certain value system that we're looking for. These are seasoned politicians, so naturally they've gone through the fire, they are solid, and they have certain skills to lead at that level. But the thing that has been largely lacking, you know, in the county governments has been that value system that puts people first as opposed to greed. And also because the political system in Kenya is very aggressive to the woman in terms of the sexist tactics that the woman counters. The woman is not allowed to be corrupt, but the men are allowed to be corrupt. It's sort of something that there is. So they'll be much more careful in terms of picking up a corrupt legacy thereabout. So, I mean, for me, the exciting thing is that we are bound to see a new ethical kind of leadership that comes in, and a leadership that espouses the family unit and suddenly puts people first more than anything else. But we're also likely to see marginalized groups within counties being given, you know, a voice that they never had, a ear and a voice that they never had. So for me, I'm looking at that empathetic leadership, you know, that some of those counties have been lacking. If you look at it, a county like Nairobi, 40% of the children in this county sleep hungry. You know, it's something that you can't imagine, so you were likely to see that kind of approach, looking at the family unit, and therefore putting much more input into the human being, and also then perhaps giving a secondary approach into developments, and that's certainly what I'm looking at. And I think that's such a unique perspective.
You know, classifying the county pain really as the family pain. That is the one. You know, it goes down to that basic unit of our society. But Jarvis, as we wind up, let's talk about again the same question: the technical experience that these women have had, having held quite high office, you know, on a national platform, and now coming down to devolve function that may be an extra feather in their cap as opposed to their male colleagues.
Well, I start with Governor Ngilu. She's a very adroit leader with you know, a history and profile that is not quite checkered. Her ambition for high office performance is something that is well documented. Yes, we know very well that a couple of issues have been attributed to that profile to do with Chapter 6, and that's why while she exited unceremoniously from the office of CS, you know, lands, etc. But she's a performer, and I know that as governor now she's going to really perform. When you look at, say, Governor Waiguru, she took office as devolution CS as a hurricane, and of course, much as also she exited unceremoniously, it is greatly hoped that having been CS for devolution, she's got what it takes to move Kirinyaga County forward. When you look at Governor Laboso, she is a great leader as well, and she was actually rushed into political office upon the circumstance that faced her system. But for the time that she's been in office, she has demonstrated that she's an able leader, that the people of Bomet will be very lucky to have their hopes and aspirations in development placed upon the shoulders of such a good lady.
All right. I thank you all for your views. We're taking a short break. We're back with what's trending after this.